Hi everyone, my name is Dinesh Kumar. Welcome to the session on Introduction to C++. We are going to take a quick look at C++ and dive deeper into one of the language features. First, let's answer the question, why C++? Is it not a language that was created decades back and used then? Well, you are right. This language was created around 39 years back and it is relevant till today as it was relevant then. When you want to design and implement a solution where performance matters, C++ is considered as one of the best fit. It is also a general purpose programming language. There are web servers written in C++. There are cameras programmed using C++. In a copier machine, you can run C++. If you have a piece of jewelry with the embedded system on it, you can use C++. Robotics, autonomous cars, there are a lot of applications for C++. If you know someone who has learned C++ 10 to 15 years back, you may have heard comments like, it is harder to learn C++. That may be the case around 10 years back. But in the last few years, a lot of companies have collaborated together to standardize and simplify C++. It is much easier to learn this language with the recent standards and simplifications. Today we are going to look at one of the advanced feature in C++ called template functions. I am going to assume you have basic knowledge of programming in any language. It could be C, Java, C#, Python, any language. Even if you are not familiar, just follow along. We will be able to catch up along the way. So let me open the IDE in which we are going to see a quick demonstration. So this is a file called main.cpp. I have included some set of libraries. We are not going to cover each of these topics. Let us focus mainly on the concept of template function. So the use case we are going to talk about is, we want to find the maximum of 2 entries. So finding the max of 2 entries is the use case that we have. So initially we have 2 integers, 10 and 2, and we want to see which one is maximum out of these 2. So I have written a function called maxint and I am passing the arguments 10 and 2. This is the definition of maxint, which accepts the arguments int a and int b. And it is going to return whatever is maximum out of those 2. This is a ternary operator wherein you check for a condition, and if the condition turns out to be true, you return this first argument, and if it is false, you return the next one. Okay, so I have a and b, I compare them and return the maximum of these 2. Let's run this and then see what is the output. Max of 10, 2 using maxint is 10. So our code works fine. Now let us extend this use case. Instead of finding the max of integers, let's try to pass 2 double values, 10.120 and 10.220. When we run the same code using double values, the output is shown as 10. We are not sure whether it is the first argument 10.12 or 10.22. Since we are passing a double precision value to an integer, the decimal points has been truncated, and we are not sure whether the first value has been written as the max or the second value, which is a problem for us. Now to solve this problem, we are going to look at the implementation of another function called maxDouble, which accepts 2 double, and this is the implementation for maxDouble. It accepts 2 double arguments and returns whatever is the maximum out of them. So when I run this function, the third line that you see here Using max double, the maximum value is correctly shown as 10.22. If I extend the same use case to find the max of two strings ABC and XYZ, let me have an implementation called max string. Here, as we have seen earlier, it accepts two string and returns whatever is maximum. In case of string, if we have the strings ABC and XYZ, A occurs at the starting of the alphabet, X occurs much later, so X is considered maximum of these two. So with that logic in mind, when I send ABC and then XYZ, the max of string returns XYZ here. So we have three functions, one to find the maximum of two integers, the other one to find maximum of two doubles, and the third one to find the maximum of two strings. Are we good? Well, with respect to the output, we are good. But do you see any problem in these implementations? One of the problem is, although the function names are different, maxint, maxdouble, and maxstring, and the argument types are different, int, double, and string, take a look at the body of these methods. Is it not exactly same? Well, in a way, we are violating the do not repeat yourself principle. We have the same set of code being repeated in many different places just because we want to support different types. So is there a way we can generalize this? We have a way to generalize this, and that's what we are going to look at. We will look at the definition of this later, but I have a method called max here, which is accepting something called t. I don't know what is t, which we'll be looking at later. But if you see the body of this method, it is exactly same as what you have seen earlier. Okay. Now I am going to make a call to this new function, and I'll be passing the exact same set of input which I have used last time. So I have used 10 and 2 initially during approach 1. Same values I'm going to pass for max. Similarly, the two double values I have used earlier and the string values I have used earlier. When I pass these set of values and run the code, if you see the output for approach 1 and approach 2, the max value of integer is showing up as 10. For double, it is 10.22, and string, the result is XYZ. So you could see between approach 1 and approach 2, the output is exactly same. But the function I have used in all these three cases, it is just 1. So let us see what is happening within this function. I am using some set of keywords like template, within angle brackets I say class, and then I say something called t. And if you see, the same word t appears in both these arguments and also in the return type. So we could also infer that where you had the word integer or double or string repeating in different areas in the parameter type and in the return type, you are using the same type called t here in these three places. And the compiler somehow sees the context in which you are calling the max function. In this case, you are calling max with two integers. So it knows it has to replace t with int. So the definition of this function is going to become int max, int of a, int of b, and return whatever is the maximum, which effectively means the compiler is going to use a definition similar to this, where the return type is integer and the arguments are integers. So you are effectively creating a template for a function, and the compiler, based on the argument context, it changes the type and then passes the arguments, executes the code, and returns the result. This is the concept of function templates. Okay, let me repeat that with the double example. I am calling the exact same max method, passing two double values. Now the compiler knows these two are double. It will go to the definition of max. It would see that max is a template function which accepts something. It's a type T. Since it is called with double type, it is going to replace the T with double. So max accepts double A, double B, returns whatever is maximum, and the return type is also double. Effectively, whatever definition we had earlier for max double, that exact same output would come when you are sending double values to the function template. And the same argument holds good for the string arguments as well. Now, let us comment out the code we have written for the individual implementations. I just have the template definition and I'm going to make use of that here. So when I make a call to this, I get the exact same output. This is the concept of function templates in C++. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. And this is just an example to show you learning C++ is not much harder. If you have basic programming knowledge, or even if you have good analytical skills, you will be able to understand C++ and you will be able to put expertise in this language. And I hope you got this concept, and I'll wait for you to join this course and we will have a pretty good journey to go ahead in C++. Thank you all.